everybody. Welcome back. I just wanted to do kind of a quick, extended video about my feelings on Grady Hendrix's Witchcraft for Wayward Girls and how I feel about writing his concepts. If I would read more, this was very highly digestible. I do have to say that. But what this book is about, it's about, Fern. She's a 15-year-old girl, and she gets pregnant, gets sent, this is the 1960s, gets sent to, a Wayward Girls school for people that, are unwed mothers. Mostly what these girls are gonna do is they just have the kid, pretty much put them up for adoption, and, and then kind of forget about them. This was a big thing in the 60s. 60s and I think 70s. There was a lot of, this is very, I would hate to compare this to Handmaid's Tale, because Handmaid's Tale to me is a little bit more horrific because it's more of a countrywide, Gilead spreads all over the place type of thing, but it is really religious based. I feel like this is a smaller and this is more realistic, because this is really about one of these places and how horrific the conditions were and stuff like that. So I would say if you couldn't handle Handmaid's Tale, this was even more kind of horrific with all the pregnancy and kind of the treatment of these young girls, which I was not very surprised about, but I was like, okay, Grady, you went there, you don't want to hold punches. My main gripe with this book was too long. I think he should either really focused in on the witchcraft and still focused on their experiences of pregnancy and stuff like that, which he did a very good job. If it was if you took this word out and just had it Wayward Girls, Grady Hendrix Wayward Girls, I would have given this a 4.55 stars. The concept, the way he was writing it, he didn't hold punches back. It felt very realistic to the time, and the religious undertone of this, I would have given this a 4.55 stars. Probably still wouldn't have bought it and put it on my shelf, and this cover's fantastic. That was actually more of, I remember, I think I was watching, I can't remember which YouTuber was doing okay, these are the books coming out for a month, but I saw this cover and I was like, I need to at least try this book because of the cover. And then they started talking about what it was about, and I was like, if I'm gonna try a Grady Hendrix, this is a topic I'm gonna dig my teeth into, because this is something I do read a lot of, but I was like, the witchcraft wasn't there, and I'm just I wanted more of that. And the witchcraft was so light. Not to give too much away, but it was mostly they find this book in a trailer and then the book does weird things. That's as much as I'm going to say about it, because it's very light. I don't want to spoil the whole book, but that's pretty much what it is. And then some weird things kind of happen. The characters were written so well. I felt for Fern the whole time. There was, how am I going to put this? Okay, so Fern's just laboring scene in this book was way too long. I know in real life, it is a very long process and stuff like that. Please don't get me wrong with that. It is a very painful process, and I think he did a really good job. In a book like this, where I'm okay, I've kind of gotten the story, and I think that was the point, that was the thing about that scene for me, it was I was getting to the point where I was I'm done with the story, and I kind of want to move on to something else, and that was just taking forever. And then there's another girl, and I was okay, the ending was spectacular. And it was very, very good. Like, I would read this book, like, if you're like the witchcraft stuff, if it's very light in here, doesn't bother you. Like, you're wanting a book that's like horrific in a more realistic way, which this very much is. This is more of a historical horror fiction, is what I would place this as. Is like, he's more taking the feelings that these girls are having in their, teenage years, getting pregnant, going through that whole thing, being set somewhere where you don't know anybody, they're getting to know people, and then people are slowly, having their kids and walking away and having to deal with that too, with all the, hormonal, like, he does that so well. It's just, like, I wanted more of the witchy. And I'm hoping he writes kind of another book about witchcraft that's a little bit more like his other books. Like, I know he has, like, a Southern Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I think there is a lot of that in that book. Like, I don't think it's lightly done. I've never read it, but if he did like another book that was a little bit closer, like, I could see him kind of doing a sequel of what these, like, I could see them like getting together, having their own coven, and kind of being connected in the way of this house, but like the second book's a lot more into the witchcraft of what happens in the first one. I could see that happening. And I think this book was different because I think there's, as far as what I know from like other reviews, there is a kind of a more lighter tone to some of his other horror books that he did not get to explore in this book. Like, this book is very, very dark from page 1 to from the last page. Like, it is very, very dark. These girls go through it. And there is a very religious undertone to this as well, which, if you're fine with Handmaid's Tale, the religious undertone is going to just be like, okay, we get it. They sinned, we can move on. And that's kind of what I felt like in this book. Like, it was there, but it was an undertone, which I appreciated. Like, I did not need, like, Handmaid's Tale 0.20. Like, I don't like usually anything that's really close to that story because I love it so much. So anything that tries to, like, rewrite it, I'm just not here for. And that's not what he was doing. Obviously, there is a religious undertone because of the fact that you're in the 60s, 70s. You're going to this school and, it's a Catholic thing where it's like they're unmarried, so they committed a sin, so they're reminded of that every single day that they're dealing with these people. Now, obviously, if you don't want to read about pregnancy, don't read this book. Like, that's basically the whole thing. Like, the first 30 pages, like, she complains about having to pee too much, like, because of the pregnancy. So, like, if that's just not your thing, this is probably not the book for you, because there's not much more else to the horror than that. Yeah, but I wish I liked this more, because I wouldn't mind having this cover on my bookshelves, just because I'm so into the 1960s, and it's, a lava lamp and stuff. But yeah, it was good for what it was. And I think his messaging, I would definitely read another book. I would definitely, even though I gave this a 3.5, but I would definitely try something else from him. That's a little bit more lighter, a little bit more fun. Like, I would probably do the vampire one because I like vampires. The exorcism doesn't really but the vampire, and I think it's a lot shorter. I think that was my problem with this book. It was like way too long. Like, I was reading, there was like parts in this book, I'm like, we could have cut this out and we could have had like a 400-page book, if not a 300-page book or a 350-page book. But I flew through this. I finished this in like 2 settings. If you need something kind of like really quick that's still kind of a decent size, give it a try. I would definitely suggest this book. Like, this is well written. I'm not going to say anything else about his writing, because I know a lot of people, like, his books are hit or miss, but this was a hit for me. And everybody's probably laughing at me. Yes, this is a library book. I will, next week, the next video hopefully will be, I mean, I could probably use this for something, and then I read January's by Olivia Blake. I could probably use that for something. I will probably start reading my actual TBR for this. So next week I'm hoping to have more of that stack read. But anyways, thank you so much for sticking with me, and like and subscribe. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that subscribed, watched, if it's my shorts, if it's these videos. Like, I really do appreciate you, because I love that we're growing as a community. And if you want to leave an emoji, leave a hand emoji, just to say you were here and you made it all the way to the end of this video. But otherwise, thank you so much. I am losing my voice, so I need my monster. But I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!